YouTube. How's it going out there? My name is Daniel Sincere, and I'm so glad you're here. Not everybody knows that what I'm doing is interesting, but I know, and you know too, which is why you're here. And I'm so grateful that you're here. Am I repeating myself? Maybe, but it's true. I get it now when performers end a set saying, "Thank you very much, thank you very much." Because I am grateful to share this time with you, share what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, building my app and promoting it for New York to benefit from. I want more people than just New Yorkers to know that I'm building an app. I feel like the app I'm building, even though it's for New York, I feel like the effect might ripple outwards. We'll see, right? We'll see. Well, let's post that we've gone live in a few spots. And then we'll hop into today's task. Yeah, so last week we did a lot of stuff for our continuous integration, running our tests. And the tests are now green, which feels so good. All the work we did on the transform has paid off. And all that work was to set up for this task right here. So the problem is that the trains in the MTA feed sometimes have duplicate IDs, and sometimes a train will just disappear, like the ID will change while the actual physical train is still underway, still en route. So what I think I need to do is recognize these trains by keeping track of which stops they visited, and give them my own IDs so that at least the IDs will be stable. I am a little nervous about this task. It does feel like a big undertaking, and it adds complexity to my app because before everything was stateless. I just used the MTA's IDs. But if the MTA can't be trusted with their IDs, can't be trusted. If they are using duplicate IDs sometimes, or their IDs change, then it's my job as an app developer to mitigate that as best I can. I wish that they would just use stable IDs themselves, but it seems that they're not. So that is the context that we are dealing with. And now that we have a freshly made backend, hopefully at least it'll be easier to reason about this. This is kind of the direction we're headed for the past few weeks, building up to starting this task. That's why I wanted to get the CI working. That's why I wanted to rewrite the backend. So you can see that the main feed is a lot simpler now. We process the service alerts, we process the arrivals, we retrieve the already processed escalator and elevator alerts, then we create the feed. Oh, and we get the closed stop IDs also. And then we create the feed, we write it to disk in the format that we want, and we store that feed in Redis so that when the app hits the endpoint, it's super fast. There's no processing done. We just send the feed on down to the phone, and they get a nice, fast experience. So if we're going to, I have no idea how this is going to go, how far we're going to get. Like I said, I am a little nervous. This does feel like a big task. Because now there's a database involved. Now there's state. Now we need to recognize trains by their ID. So maybe I should start up the simulator so we can kind of visualize what's happening a little bit. Build operations are in progress. Okay. Welcome, welcome. How's everybody's Sunday while we wait for Xcode to build? Yesterday I went out to the Divas for Social Justice group in Bed-Stuy, a little makerspace they have going on there. They had an open house. Met some cool folks. Building. And then I went and took some photographs down by the Verrazano Narrows Bridge, which I guess is basically the end of the Hudson River. Then it dumps into the bay there. I got some cool photos. I got one of a container ship coming in from under the Verrazano Narrows Bridge. I'm pretty happy with it. I can't wait to share it. Oh, I mean, I can wait. Obviously, I'm working on this instead of working on that. It's an expression. It's okay. It's awaiting connection. Now it's a running, but I still don't see anything. There we go. Okay, so let's go to Times Square, the center of the universe. We can go to see all the stops. We can click on a train. You can see, like, here's all the stops that train is making, and we show them so beautifully here in this little scroll view. And this is all based on the train's ID here. That's how we know where the train's going. And the way it comes out in the feed is, I guess they do kind of group it by train. We can use that to kind of fingerprint and keep track of where the train is. Franklin in the chat says, will the Subway app be on the Vision Pro? I don't know. I don't have a Vision Pro. I assume you can download it, but I have no idea. I'm hoping for at least one price drop before I pick up mine. It is pretty pricey. I have seen photos of people using the Vision Pro on the subway, and folks were making fun of them. I don't know. I haven't seen it in person yet. So then the other thing to look at would be, I guess, the actual feed that comes on through. Franklin redeemed a hydrate. Thank you so much. So what I want to do now is grab the feed directly from the MTA and print it to the screen so we can kind of visually inspect what it looks like, see if there's anything we can intuit about how we would want to structure our database. And a nice thing about using the CLI to do this is with Swift Argument Parser, it kind of reminds me how to write the command line invocation. With the old backend, I had to remember myself. I had notes to copy paste how to run different commands. Cool, yeah. So you can see that I have the subcommands fetch, just one, because we're going to inspect it visually. I don't need the whole group. And I want to print it. And yeah, then we get the list of feeds that we can choose from. I guess the L train will be the least amount of trains since it's one feed for one route. If I use some of these other ones, or I guess the Staten Island Railway, BDFM is going to be 4 trains. We don't need that right now. Oh yeah, we need to export an MTA key. Let's see. The Randy construct says hello. Hey, how's it going? So I think I can say op run. Yeah, op run end file. And then all that stuff that we wrote up here. Randy says, I see sun outside. I'll take that as a win. Yeah, it's been nice this week. But yeah, previous weeks it was super, super gray. I got some nice photographs last night. No such file. Oh, kitchencli.env. Franklin says, I wish Xcode had a terminal like VS Code or Android Studio. Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? You are not currently signed in. I'm not signed in? What does that mean? I think I'm signed in. I guess I'll try to sign in on the side here. Touch ID is so nice. Where is it? Okay, there we go. Okay, we are correctly signed in. Let's run that command again. Cool. So what do we see here? So GTFS is a format made by Google for transit systems. I forget exactly what it stands for, but it's a protocol buffer format. And you can see there's a bunch of stuff in here. So we have the header that says we are the L train. I don't really understand what this replacement period is. I've never needed to use it, but I do use a timestamp to make sure that I am getting fresh data. So I have an entity ID of 1. So this is the trip ID that sometimes gets reused. It also has a train ID, which is also not necessarily unique either, and they don't always have a train ID. A train ID isn't assigned to a train until the train leaves the terminal. So for planning in advance, it's kind of useless. But this one's going from Rockaway Parkway to Union Square. Oh, I guess it's not running all the way to the end of the line right now. That's interesting. And even though it's east-west, you can see that the trip ID has an N there. Okay, so there's a trip update which has a trip and then a bunch of stop time updates with all of the stop IDs. Oh, these have delays. That's interesting. Schedule relationships scheduled. Are there any schedule relationships that are not scheduled? Unknown congestion level. Again, just we're exploring the data here for a new feature for the Subway app. Kind of going back to the roots instead of looking at how I've modeled it over the past 8 years. Trying to think of it fresh to see if there's any new insights we can do. Again, the MCA reuses their IDs, which makes their IDs not stable for the sake of uniquely identifying a train, which is the task of the day. Looks like schedule relationship is always scheduled, at least right now on this Sunday. I do see that each entity does have an ID, and these appear to be unique. I wonder if I could use like a some ID from the header along with the ID that's listed here, along with the trip ID to make something unique. Let's see, I noticed the timestamp and the start here line up, and how long is this in the future? So 17088 matches up, so it's just this minus wait, did I copy too many or not enough? 1, 2, 3, 4 eights. Okay, so I need another 8 at the beginning. 1800. So what's that like? I guess we could just divide by 60. That's going to be like 30 minutes, a 30-minute interval. Okay. Adam Wolf says, is there not a defined spec for this JSON? It's not JSON, it's GTFS. And actually, that's a good reminder. We can see if they've updated the documentation. I think it's api.mta.info, which means sign in. Okay, let's sign in. Server not found. What? Cool. So this is what the API for the MTA looks like. We're concerned about the subway feeds right now. And if you look at all of these, yeah, they're not JSON. These are the, kind of says in the URL there, GTFS. Other feeds and documentation. Let's see, there's these docs. And there's some instructions for dealing with protocol buffers. But there isn't necessarily something that says exactly what they are. Let's see, let's open this file. I guess there are comments in here. For the New York City Transit subway, this feed replaces any scheduled trip within the replacement period. Okay. This feed is a full data set. It contains all trips starting in the trip replacement period. If a trip from the static GTFS is not found in the GTFS real-time feed, it should be considered canceled. The replacement period can be different for each route. So here's a list of the routes where the trips in the feed replace all scheduled trips. So here is a list. Where is here? Yeah, they say the train ID is meant for internal use only. They do kind of tell you how to parse it, but not really. This trip has been assigned to a physical train. If true, this trip is already underway or likely will depart shortly. Is declared unassigned and is tagged as such. Unassigned trains can be moved to a storage location or assigned an NYCT train ID when a determination for service is made. So what I don't understand is why they say 3 here. So this looks like, the direction, but why are they saying 3? Are they saying that south? But not all the trains are southbound. Then we have the tracks. So these are extensions to the GTFS protocol. What other documentation do we have? So this is the base version. Oh, that's the order. That must be the order. 1 and then 2. Does that make sense here? Yeah, 1 and then 2, 1 and then 2. Where do we see a 3? 3, yeah. 1 and then 2 and then 3. Yeah, because it's a binary format, so it needs to know the order of each field in in the binary blob. Let's see. I guess let's make some notes. Reminder that each train stops are grouped together. Because currently the way I process it is I add all the stops individually and I add the ID with them. But I could rearrange how I do it. And then after we do that, we can kind of look at if a trip ID is repeated or disappeared. So in the case when it's missing, like if it's still like in the middle, but in the middle, like, you know, somewhere in the middle of the city, it's not at a terminus, then check nearby stop sequences. So if it's at stop sequence 17, then like maybe check, I don't know, 16 or 18 to see if there's a train there. When train ID is duplicated. I guess the same thing. We can probably rely on stop sequence there also. Because the two trip IDs will be at different stop sequences. Or at least different stops. I don't know if stop sequence is always there. I feel like sometimes the MTA leaves it out. Hey, BitSpectre, how's it going? BitSpectre asks, are you winning? Trying. We're already in a compromised position, I guess. And that's why we're doing this task to shore up our train IDs. Basically looking to assign my own train IDs to trains because the MTA will sometimes change the train ID or just completely drop it or use 2. But the train is still, the physical train is still on the tracks. Oh man, I'm tired. That was a lot already. Bringing up old memories of running through this the first time 8 years ago and all the improvements and weird changes they've made. There's a lot of a lot of nostalgia coming up right now. So what do we want our database to look like? I guess we'll make like a draft. Oh, and what happened to the music? Oh, it's just like a long quiet part at the end. Let's skip ahead. And how do we add another row? Maybe last seen, DTFS trip ID, which is yeah, on the trip update, we have the trip descriptor with the trip ID. And then an underway ID, I guess, an underway train ID. Last seen at. Like maybe this could be a either a stop sequence or a stop ID. So where's the stop ID? For example, last seen at L27S. Yeah, I guess we could sketch this out with kind of real data since we have it right in front of us. So if we have this trip ID, I guess we could add a start date. Oh no, I'm running out of room on the right over here. Can I shrink these columns? No, just move them around. Yeah, so this was a completely stateless app, which made deployment so nice and easy. Just kind of a last seen timestamp, I guess, a last seen station. Then this will be just some UUID, I guess. I'm not sure if we need to keep track of each stop that it stopped at, but supposing we do, we could say again, this will just be UUID. We can say that it stopped at because let's see. I guess sometimes when they stop at a stop, they it still lingers in the feed for a few minutes. So we can kind of compare timestamps to show that it's stopped here. But also if there's an actual delay, then Sometimes they don't update the feed until later, so the train could look like it's jumping backwards, depending on how the updates in the feed comes back. Be aware of train stop timestamps jumping backwards as delays propagate through the feed, through the MTA's systems, and into the feed. Yeah, because I guess this would be cool for like historic data of like, here was a train in the system, and here's all the stops that it made when it made them. I don't know what we would do with that historical data, but we would have it. I guess when someone links to a train and it's been and it's completed, well, we can show them the completed train instead of right now we just say the the train's missing, when in fact it's reached its destination. We don't keep track of it's actually reached its destination or not. So that would be one nice improvement of keeping track of historical data. I suppose this timestamp could update as the feed itself updates, because I think these are all looking into the future. Let's get another one. So this timestamp is, let's go to one of those Unix timestamps websites. This is 2:38. So this is like right now, I guess. And then how many seconds is this later? So it's like about to be here in 100 milliseconds. But there's a minus 26 delay, which I don't know what that means. Like a 30-second or 26-second delay. 26 millisecond delay is certainly nothing to care about. 26 seconds, I guess that's kind of interesting. But 26 minutes is where it starts to become. I wonder what unit this is. These are all say minus 26 on them. Do they all have congestion levels? This first one doesn't. This one does, but it's unknown. So what does that mean? Let's see. Let's look for other congestion levels. They're all unknown. And we've looped around. Okay. Oh, this one is minus 129, so that may be 2 minutes-ish, I guess. 2 minutes and 9 seconds delay. Delay from what? From the published time? I've gotten this far without ever worrying about the scheduled times, because the schedules don't really make much sense. I only care where the subway is in real time. I'm not like doing a study on delays. I'm not a researcher. I'm making an app for people to use. So if that's the case, if we are going to have a table of stops, then perhaps we don't need the last seen at here because we can just get it. We can compute it from the stops that it stopped at. Because how would we say the last seen at? 8889959. This is in the past from that. Oh, it looks like stop sequence is just how many stops it's been to already. This is 9851. Yeah, so this is like it's about to hit this stop. And it has a different departure time. What is that, like 15 seconds? Oh, so this must be in seconds then, not milliseconds. I showed my app to some people yesterday. They really liked it. They're like, I need to tell everybody about this. Uh, but I guess they also said something really, really cool. They said, I feel like I'm sitting across from a celebrity, which felt pretty cool. Cause yeah, I made this app and it's awesome and it gets fantastic reviews. As soon as more and more people hear about it, which they are, uh, perhaps perhaps what they're saying will become true. This is at stop sequence 22. Did we have a 22 up here? We had, because we have these like short trains. Current stop sequence 20, but doesn't have any further stops. Oh, it stopped at 20, but doesn't have the timestamp going forward. That's weird. I'm going to check the app. Oh, I can do it. I don't have to do it on my phone. We have it up right here. We can look at L trains. Randy Contract says, crap, I have glare on my screen. Let's see, pop out chat. Glad they are recognizing the app and you. Yeah, that was my that was my opening monologue today of starting to feel recognized, people recognizing that I am doing something noteworthy. So this train's yeah, so it's just going forward towards the end. Let's look in the other direction. Yeah, they're ending at Union Square. Are there L trains over here? No. What's the service alert? Part suspended. In Manhattan, no L trains between Union Square and 8th Avenue, which is these stops right here will have no L trains. I guess just here to the end. And you can see we have this little underscore right here to show that, hey, there's something interesting happening here. It's the last stop. And I find that super helpful on this view because otherwise you just kind of assume that the L train is coming here and going onwards. But nope. Today we got part suspended. And as you can see, everybody has a service alert all the time. So how do I guess it's good to highlight ones that are really going to affect your journey in a real way. Like sometimes it's just stop skipped in stops that you're not going to care about. Like perhaps if you're riding the 6 from way past that to way beyond that, I guess you don't care that they're skipping these stops. In fact, you might even be happy because that's fewer stops. But something like this is the last stop is gotta call that out. BitSpectre says choo choo. What if the user could flag the stops they care about? Oh, that'd be cool. I feel like that would also change throughout the day. Like I guess for a commute, if you're just going to work and to home, that would make sense. If you're exploring around on the weekend, like I like to do, just going to random stops. Yeah, I was saying yesterday I took the R all the way down here to Bay Ridge and took some photos near the Verrazano Narrows Bridge. On this map, it shows Bay Ridge being below the Verrazano Narrows Bridge, but it's not actually. The Verrazano Narrows Bridge probably starts maybe where this R is. So I was still north of the bridge. And they were skipping a bunch of stops, which was nice for me to get there more quickly while the sun was setting. BitSpectre says, gotta run, sadly. Leaving stream up, though. Yes. Hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. Oh, thanks for the chill vibes. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Randy. And that might be something we want to do in the future in some capacity. Right now, it's a real-time app about where the subway is right now, and I don't want to make it too finicky on the weekends, but that is certainly something to keep in mind. BitSpectre says it's not too bad heading out for dinner with family. Right on, dude. Bon appetit. Randy says, oh, true. So maybe, let's just put this on screen here. So maybe flag the known daily stops, like trips they make all the time, home, work, home. Good points, though. Yeah, it's always a tension for adding more features and complicating the app. Like we'd want to do it in a way that doesn't interfere. Because yeah, like what are we supposed to do with this? There's like everything everywhere. 32, like everything everything except for the G train, which is I believe not running at all, has an alert. So it just makes alerts just feel like white noise. Oh, it is running. Okay. And I don't want my app to feel like white noise. No scheduled service. Okay. Stop skipped. Yeah, exactly. Randy says it's like notifications on the phone. I start ignoring them or just turn them off. Yeah, exactly. So what do we do? But that's I guess not the current task. but it is something that I do keep in the back of my mind. Because I guess going back to that example of, stop skipped on the downtown R train. Like that might be good if you're going past those stops, but it might actually be interesting if you're going to one of those stops that are skipped. Then you're like, oh crap, I wish I did click on it. And there's not really, the app doesn't know where you're going, which is what sets it apart from other apps. But then you also run into the flip side of that. It's like, well, we can't really filter down the alerts for you as narrowly as Google Google Maps can, because you have to type in where you're going. Randy says, I don't live in a large city, so I guess I'm not thinking on the large scale that this operates on. Yeah, there's about 472 stops. A lot, but not that many. I've touched all of them for hard-coded data so many times over the past 8 years. Yeah, I guess we could also keep like a feeds table. Something like this, and then you could have the feed with the trains in it, and then the stops that the trains have made. This could probably fill up pretty fast. Let's see. So this is timestamp 9851. Let's run this a few times and see how soon it is till we get a new one. So if I do another one right away, it's already new. Let's run it twice in succession real quick. I just want to see if I get duplicates. So let's search for done. So we have 807. And then the one at the top is, because we got these right in a row. So hardly any, I mean, there is separation, but I guess every time we get a feed, it seems to be a new one. Which I guess is good. The data's super fresh, allegedly. But I guess that means we're going to have a ton, we're not going to get any duplicates in here. It's just going to be a new feed ID every time. Oh, let's check in with chat. Randy says, my God, yeah, the scale is huge. The not tracking location thing, is this a privacy versus convenience design choice? Sorry, I'm not sure what you mean by that. Because you can locate yourself, and it'll open up the stop that's closest to you. That's what this button here does. Okay, cool. Yeah, I set a I set a location on the simulator. So if you click on locate me and the simulator is set so that you're right here. it'll locate you. No, a lot of the design choices are inconvenient. Like tapping on the map, that was a very inconvenient design choice, but it paid off. It paid off. People love tapping on the map. Oops, I meant to move chat over. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Just looking through the feeds that the MTA publishes to improve my own feed for my app. Again, this is my app underway on the App Store for Android and iOS. Let's see. And so currently it's completely stateless. If I like the servers fall over, I can spin up new servers and there'll be no interruption of service necessarily. It's all stateless. It just gets the latest feeds and from the MTA and then creates its own feed. If I'm going to keep track of train IDs, I need to make it a little bit more stateful, uh, which is a little scary. I'm not going to lie. I love just how low maintenance the server is. Who wants a high maintenance server? Not me. So we will want to keep it as low maintenance as possible. Okay, so we'll have a bunch of feeds, and I guess as we get the feeds, we can, I guess, process and store the trains with their train IDs, like do any like lining up of the IDs. We'll have the historical data of their stops. And then when we want to create a feed, I guess it'll get the latest feed that we have and then gather the trains from those feeds and then put those in the feed that's ready to go down to the phone. Yeah, and historical data is kind of a side benefit of this. Like same thing for the service alerts. We do want to keep those around. Because right now, if an alert was there and then it's gone, then it's just gone. We're not keeping track of those. So yeah, kind of a lot happening for the, I guess the 3.0 the 3.0 version of the app. I guess that's what this would be. It is about that time. We're we're on version what, 2.0 or something? 2.35. Okay, so if we kind of start with this idea, so this is our idea. Is it time to write? Is it time to start writing some code? Maybe. Um, I guess we would want to, spin up a local Postgres. We would want to, let's see, we have this databases thing here. I call the background processes that create the feed the kitchen, because it's like in a restaurant, the kitchen is where the yummy stuff is cooked, and then the front of the house is where the people eat the food, is, I guess, the inspiration here. And then what did I do for these things? I made a setup script. I made some migration things. Oh boy. Yeah, backend backend servers kind of freak me out. Backend database servers, because if you mess something up, then everything's broken. So this is my here's my anxious face on stream for the world to see. And I've gone so far without having this kind of anxiety. Let's see. So I am using Vapor, and yeah, we can copy paste this over. And we'll just rename everything. Oh, good. It is cap sensitive. Perfect. Yeah, so I guess what you can see here is Postgres configuration is a Fluent thing, which is the ORM for Vapor. And I am making this a shared library so that anything I use, anything I write can use this. And it's going to try to connect to the local database if the environment variable is not set. Randy says, is this feature you are trying to add worth it, worth anxiety? I mean, this is just the next evolution of the app. There's features that would be improved by this. For example, you can share a train. You can share a link to a train. I'm not sure what happens with iMessage on the simulator, but you can say I'm on this train. You can send it to your buddy, to your spouse, to your coworker. Say, this is the train I'm on. This is when you'll to expect me. If this train spontaneously combusts, don't expect me at work, for example. And it's also really fun for if you're meeting someone up, if you're both going to the beach, for example, you're both going to Coney Island, so you happen to both live on the D line, then your group of friends can all get to the D line from wherever they are and make sure they get on the same train, and then you'll all ride happily over to get Nathan's hot dogs in Coney Island. For example, is another nice thing for that. And if the MT changes the train IDs, then that link is not as valuable. And then, of course, there's other features I want to build, which perhaps it's too soon to talk about out loud. but they are exciting features. Yeah, I guess one consideration is I could I could make the migrations kind of in this little module and kind of run these migrations. Because yeah, I guess migration management for a real database, where you're stopping and starting containers, having multiple of the same container, you can't just run migrations on startup like you normally would in dev. What's chat saying? Randy says nice, except for the spontaneously combusting part. Uh, and yeah, I get it. So this is like a foundational step needed for the long game. Yeah, for sure. And another reason to do this is for, so we're primarily an MTA app. However, there are other trains in the New York City. Let's see if we click on this little 9 here. We can see the path trains, and these do not have anything going on for them at all. we can't we can't click on them because these do not have any kind of ID. They don't have a broken ID, they just have no ID. So I mean, I think it's obvious that, less than a minute here to New Jersey, that when we come down to Christopher Street, we'll see that same train. And yeah, that's something we want to manage on the back end, not on the device. And then we can also check World Trade Center is the other kind of bunch of stops for the path. You can see the red ones. But yeah, can't click on it because it doesn't have an ID, so we can't really show anything there. We have a sob in the chat about migrations. Yeah, another source of anxiety, is it not? So my customers database, I have not really looked at or touched in forever. So this pending migrations is empty. I just keep track of in-app purchases or whatever in here. And auth is going to be dead. This is going to be replaced by FQ auth, which we wrote on stream back in 2022. Let's see, fullqdeveloper.com. Where is FQ auth? I don't link to it. Oh, here it is, my open source projects. Yeah, I still need to deploy this for my app. I made it so I could I want to deploy it to perhaps the admin panel first, just to make sure it works, and then start adding in user sign-in, because there are some cool things we could do once users are signing in. We can start giving perks, I guess, like referrals. Right now, I only rely on Apple receipts for, validating if the in-app purchase is there or not, which I think is great for users. They don't have to worry about if my server is down for whatever reason, their in-app purchase, they won't see any ads if they have the in-app purchase, because it's all validated on device. So I think that's a good thing. But it does limit our ability to grow. We could probably do like a combination. Because I guess, ideally, folks buy directly from the website and Apple doesn't get a cut. Same thing with Google, managing the purchases myself. But that is more work. There is another point where the app could fail, or I could get hacked, or what have you. So being stateless has been so nice. So yeah, I guess that means if I'm gonna have these feeds in a database, then I need to be backing up the database and practice, I guess, disaster recovery. Make sure that the app can fix itself if the database goes down, or I can't just pretend the database is always going to be there. Or can I? I mean, at some point it's going to happen. The database is going to run out of space, for example. It's going to go down. Um, and then what? Then the app might recalibrate IDs. I guess if it doesn't happen that often, it won't be so disruptive. Um, I mean, this is going to be a long running project. I guess I have plenty of time to harden up the shoreline. Adam Wolf says, I'm learning that, it's so glary on that screen. Learn that the most frustrating part of that is taxes and VAT. Oh, I guess your app is a little bit more international. Um, Although looking at the in-app purchases, it's like, yeah, I get purchases from like Great Britain and Canada and other countries too. I think that even from China, which is like maybe they're in town visiting, which is great. Just still surprising that it's, I don't know, it's still attributed to being a different country. I guess what I'm thinking about now is, do I want to make a little Vapor app just for the migrations? And I'm kind of leaning towards yes to see what that would be like. Adam says, yep, all about where their Apple ID country is, not necessarily where they actually live. Oh, okay. Can I set my App Store to a different country? Or can I make an Apple ID in a different country? Make Apple ID in. Wow, it auto completes. Then set your device country, the email address. Oh, I guess you just do it. You can change it. You must spend your store credit, cancel your subscriptions, and get a payment method for your new country or region. Spend any balance. So what if you have like 30 cents on your Apple ID? There's nothing you can buy. You have to put in like $1 so you can buy $1 of something. Okay, so anyway, migrations. I do want to use migrations with Vapor with FQauth. Where did I put it? Is it in Safari? It is. Yeah, with FQauth for the migrations, I kind of like how I did it here. What did I do? Configure migrations. Yeah, so I have these migrations here, and I have them basically as raw SQL because I'm just so comfortable with SQL, and I am not so comfortable with Fluent's wrappers around SQL. Like I want to. This is exactly what I want with time zone default current time zone. No, I don't know how to write that in Vapor, so I don't bother. Um, is this? Yeah, I think any kind of migration tool has to. You need some kind of migration tool. Every time I've tried to write, oh, we don't need a migration tool and just run straight SQL, you have to keep track of some stuff. It's so much easier to reason about with real code. But actually creating the tables and themselves and all is I like the other reason I like doing this is you can copy paste this into a Postgres terminal and see that it works or doesn't work. With Fluent wrappers for SQL, you can't really copy paste that out. You have to run it and like see what the output is as code, and it's just a step removed. I wanna get in there. Yeah, so I did make some helpers for myself to do all that. And perhaps this could live as a separate library, or it's so tiny, just copy paste it around. So I guess I am breaking my pattern that I had over here. Let's see. I guess we could. That was weird. Yeah, we won't need this SQL folder. Move to trash. And this can be sources slash provider. Oh, I was hoping it would make like a subfolder for me. Cool. Swift tools version. Let's do 5.9. Let package equals fetch in Postgres. This is just going to be Linux and Mac. I don't think I need to worry about platforms. No, actually I do. I need to say like, because like 10.15 was just like such a long time ago, and that's what it defaults to. So what is it? It's like .mac. Okay, fine. Let's steal from ourselves. 11 is also a pretty long time ago, but it's not 10.15. Platforms, products. I guess we'll have one executable and one library. Which of course has some targets. Now, I don't know if these names have to line up or not. I'm kind of going experimental here. And then, of course, some dependencies. Do we need all of Vapor here, or can we kind of skip it? And just use Fluent? I don't know. I think for the provider, we just need Fluent, but for Migrate, because it's going to be like a command line tool, I think we might need like all of Vapor, which is perhaps a little funny because we have to, we're going to have to compile boring SSL just to run our migrations, and that feels bad. Dependencies is going to be, I guess, Fluent, which we can yoink from I guess here. And I guess we'll need Vapor as well. From what? I think it's 4 or something. So you'll change the name of this folder to migrate. There we go. And we'll also, oh, this is dot, and then let's have a dot target for the provider. And yeah, I guess I'll put a main in here. And yeah, let's just see if this compiles. So this needs to be sources. Oh, thanks so much. And so yeah, let's head on over there on our command line. Databases slash Swift build. All kinds of nonsense. Oh, I forgot to import package description. It needs a comma somewhere. Oh yeah, I guess right there. Everybody else looks like they already have commas. Static member target cannot be used on, oh, because I need more commas. Yeah, I have to download Swift numerics to run our migrations. That part does feel a little weird. I wonder if this also just be all in the same CLI instead of having this like little separate module here. Because I don't I don't want to compile all these little guys so many times just to run a build. So while it is super cool to have everything kind of separated out, I wonder if this is kind of the wrong move. Because in our new world here, do we have vapor? We don't, but we could. I could merge all of my, because down here I have a bunch of vapor apps, the admin app, the API app, the customers app. I could merge all those into here perhaps, and just have one big executable. Would X could Xcode handle it? I don't know, but yeah, I guess I have like a Docker container for like each of these things, and I'm kind of wondering if that's kind of overkill, especially for like having to compile Vapor all these times. I don't really know anyone building a backend exactly the way I am, so I'm not really sure where to where to find inspiration for this. Because everyone I know, they just kind of build their container and they have everything inside of like everything for their team inside it, and then like they don't manage the database. The database team manages that. Like that's not even a consideration. So that's kind of was the inspiration for me to keep my databases like separate. But like I could put it in here. Yeah, that would be an experiment that we could do at some point. Um, we are at the halfway minute mark, so I do want to take a break. Oh, Randy says, doing all the things yourself. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I do have some monitoring, but I don't look at it because nothing ever goes wrong. Hee hee. Um, yeah, I should make some alerts. Add that to my to-do list. Like right now, if there's something to actually like monitor, then where's my to-dos? What did we say? Add monitors to the logging service I use. Okay, I'm going to take probably 10-minute break. Thank you so much for sticking around, and thank you for sticking around so far. Hello, hello. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you're having a wonderful Sunday afternoon. On this stream, at some point, we also love to do a little bit of a reading. Let's see, can I hide all the other windows? Hide others. Oh, but then I can't see chat. Yeah, so this book has been very inspiring for me. The Creative Act. What page are we on? Yeah, I think we're here at point of reference. Is that true? Oh no, that's what we did last week. We're at non-competition. Okay, so non-competition from the Creative Act by Rick Rubin. He writes, "Art is about the maker. Its aim, to be an expression of who we are. This makes competition absurd. Every artist's playing field is specific to them. You are creating the work that best represents you. Another artist is making the work that best represents them. The two cannot be measured against each other. Art relates to the artist making it and the unique contribution they are bringing to the culture. Some may argue that competition inspires greatness. The challenge of exceeding what others have accomplished can act as an incentive to push our creative limits. In most cases, though, this energy of competition oscillates at a lower vibration. Wanting to outperform another artist or make a work better than theirs rarely results in true greatness. Nor is it a mindset that has a healthy impact on the rest of our lives. As Theodore Roosevelt pointed out, comparison is the thief of joy. Besides, why would we want to create with the purpose of diminishing someone else? Oh, that's a good point. When another great work inspires us to elevate our own, however, the energy is different. Seeing the bar raised in our field can encourage us to reach even higher. This energy of rising to meet is quite different from that of conquering. Whoa. I need to read that again. When another great work inspires us to elevate our own, the energy is different. Seeing the bar raised in our field can encourage us to reach even higher. This energy of rising to meet is quite different from that of conquering. Oh, wow. When Brian Wilson, from the Beach Boys, first heard the Beatles' Rubber Soul, his mind was blown. If I ever do anything in my life, I'm going to make that good an album, he thought at the time. He went on to explain, I was so happy to hear it that I went on and started writing God Only Knows. Which of course was a hit back in the 60s. Being made happy by someone else's work and then letting it inspire you to rise to the occasion is not competition, it's collaboration. When Paul McCartney, from the Beatles, heard the resulting Beach Boys album Pet Sounds, he too was blown away and reduced to tears, proclaiming God Only Knows was to his ears the best song ever written. Buoyed by the experience, the Beatles played Pet Sounds over and over while creating another masterpiece, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Without Pet Sounds, Sgt. Pepper would never have happened, Beatles producer George Martin said. Pepper was an attempt to equal pet sounds. Wow. This creative back and forth wasn't based on commercial competition, it was based on mutual love. And we are all the beneficiaries of this upward spiral towards magnificence. No system exists that can rank which work is most reflective of the maker. Great art is an invitation, calling to creators everywhere to strive for still higher and deeper levels. Wow. I mean, this reminds me of watching Project Runway and making my app better. But I guess that's not exactly the right analogy because that's just two different fields. Yeah, I need to check out more apps. I need to find other independent app developers that are doing what I'm doing and connect up with them so that I can be further inspired with what I'm doing. I'm making this app basically as a beyond full stack dev. And there's got to be other people out there doing a similar thing too. I can't be the only one doing this, but I am not intimately aware with their work. Okay, next session. There's another type of competitive that might be seen as an infinite game. A story that can continue to unfold over the course of an artist's life. This is the competition with the self. Think of competition as a quest for evolution. The object is not to beat our other work, it's to move things forward and create a sense of progression, growth, over superiority. Our ability to taste may evolve, yielding different works over time, but none can be evaluated as more or less than another. They are different snapshots of who we are, and they are all our best work in the moment they were created. Wow. This is so freeing. They are all our best work in the moment they were created. That's so freeing. I guess sometimes I look back and think of, I could have done this better. I could have done that better. I could have explained this better on stream. I could have remembered, an API better on stream. I could have been more prepared. But they were all the best that I did at the moment. That's true. I'm not trying to do a bad job. And as I grow, as I look back and reflect, yeah, I make better stuff. I grow and evolve, and my taste evolves as I watch other streamers too. Let's get back to the text. With each new project, we are challenging ourselves to most beautifully reflect what's living in us at a particular window of time. Wow. I'm stumped yet again. With each new project, we are challenging ourselves to most beautifully reflect what's living in us at that particular window of time. Like doing my best to reflect my now, right now, because in 5 minutes, in 5 years, I'll have a different now that I'll want to reflect. That said, I do want to write an autobiography of sorts, kind of putting together how all these past selves have culminated into my current now. But yeah, I guess that would be reflecting what's living in me right now, all these past selves, to make this moment right now. In the spirit of self competition, task yourself to go further and push into the unexpected. Don't even stop at greatness, venture beyond. Holy cow. Don't even stop at greatness. Wow, this is so mind-blowing. I mean, I guess I can't help but think about Jordan and Kobe, who really, really, really tried to be great, and they could have stopped, but they really excelled even further than that. Let's check on chat. Competition operates at a lower vibration. Wow, interesting. Yeah, it's not creative. Its motivations are not positive. Oh wow, yeah, beautifully said, says Randy. Wow, what an amazing chapter. Can I widen it? We can. Oh, but then we get the previous page. Non-competition. So the point of art is to express who we are right now. Art is about the maker. And he talks about how the Beatles and the Beach Boys inspired each other. Rubber Soul inspiring God Only Knows, and then God Only Knows inspiring Sergeant Pepper. And that made me realize I need to connect with more indie app developers who are trying to make it out there in this big blue world. Who have something to say as an app, since that's what I'm doing. And that's part of the Twitch stream here is I'm trying to like put a beacon out. Like, I'm here. I'm an indie app developer. Who is interested in that? Please stop by. I'm here. Randy says, I feel there are several lines that could be their own episodes. Oh, for sure. It's kind of overwhelming how dense this one is. Although I guess he says it wasn't based on commercial competition. I'm not sure if that's exactly true or not. I mean, they both wanted number one songs and all that, which translates pretty closely to commercial success. But I guess we could kind of trust the author here and say that this is an example of mutual love and not competition. Because either way, we are all the beneficiaries of this upward spiral to magnificence, like he says. I think this is like a little aside that's interesting here. No system exists that can rank which work is most reflective of the maker. I remember it was an interview with Jack Black about Nacho Libre, and he was saying how he was talking about one particular scene, how he's like he liked how he did it, but he feel like if he had more time, like two or three more takes, he knows he could have like really nailed it, and he's kind of sad about that. But it is a great scene. As Frick Rubin says elsewhere, who knows if the third or fourth take would have been better or not, but it would have been different. No system exists that can rank which work is most reflective of the maker. I was about to say like only only you, the maker, knows what reflects you the most, but I'm not. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. Because you could put more into a work, you can take stuff out of a work, you can edit it down. I guess I'm just kind of curious like, is there a guide for me to use? Is he saying that there's no guide for me to use to measure myself as a maker, or what? If there were such a system, would I want to use it? Would I want to just do my best each time and next time will be better? Reflecting back, to see what I made as a way to learn about myself and expand my world, expand myself. Which I guess is kind of what he starts talking about next. Starts talking about self competition, which I guess is perhaps what this was making me curious about. As a quest for evolution. Move things forward. How do you know you're going forward and not backward? Like, only going forward isn't necessarily the right thing to do. I definitely went backward when I took some time to create the emojis for the channel, for example. Like, I was not going forward with my ability to narrate. I wasn't going forward with my camera presence. I was kind of doing an aside to build the emojis. And I love the emojis for the channel. I think that was a fantastic use of time. I think it did end up moving things forward, but when I was sitting there drawing them, it was a step backward. It wasn't necessarily going forward. So I guess I'm curious about that. Oh, and even we were listening to the Andre 3000 album earlier, and there was an interview that he did where he said that he wanted to do a flute album because he wasn't as familiar with flute as he is with other stuff. So he wanted to go backwards on purpose. But I guess that was going backwards to go forwards. They're all our best work in the moment they were created. Yeah, I'm thinking about some events where I regret my participation in them, where I felt like I could have done a better job in that moment. But also, the gifts that I gave to myself and to others in those moments were still very real. And it's not just a once in a lifetime experience. I feel like there's been things in my life that have felt like once in a lifetime experience that I felt like I blew, that I regret, that feels like a lasting impact on the trajectory of my life. And I wonder what would have happened if I had done it differently, right? But I guess I did my best in those moments. I gave my best. I gave my all in those moments as much as I could. And it wasn't enough, or there was still a sense of failure, or I still received a punishment of some kind. Randy says, I guess he is saying there is no regret in our past works, or shouldn't be. Yeah, I hear you there, but I guess my mind goes to some extreme examples of a surgeon who is trying to save people's lives, and he or she's a little extra tired that day and makes to them a silly mistake that they know they would not have normally done, and they lose someone. Like, perhaps that's an extreme example, but I mean, I'm curious about it. I that example like hits me pretty hard. Um, I don't want to make a mistake and have someone die. Perhaps why I'm not in in the game of doing surgery. Uh, less risk with art. Um, Not necessarily. I mean, if you look at the art of the 60s during the civil rights movement, during the Vietnam War protests, there was certainly some risk of government backlash. Um, a very real backlash that a lot of those artists faced, and a lot of people who were demonstrating um, as a creative act, trying to create a better world, definitely received very physical backlash. Oh man, this is taking me places today. If one demonstration doesn't work, as in the world doesn't change, does that mean that the demonstration was a failure? Randy says, "Could he be wrong?" What do you mean with that? I guess with the example of the surgeon, I would have a hard time living with that level of regret. I know some surgeons are always trying to do their best, and to some extent, because of how often people die, they have figured out one way or another to deal with it because the next person needs their help. If they're drowning in regret, they're gonna perhaps keep making more and more mistakes, right? Like you see teams like the mentals of like an athlete, just they just kind of lose it and they just like can't maintain it if they get off on the wrong foot, perhaps during a game or during a season even. Randy says the no regret part. I feel like they have to emotionally prepare themselves for it. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I see that as a signal to me about my regret. But then there's also people who are trying to, I don't know, or at least that's how it's presented. There are people who are trying to harm other people. And should those people have regret? Is that their creative act, like harming someone? Like, I don't know. Guess we're edging into morality and ethics here, which is, I guess, where this sentence takes me. I guess I know myself. I know I do my best. Do I trust everyone to always be doing their best? Look at these people who are actively harming other people, for example. Not going to get into specifics about naming names or anything like that. I think everyone can imagine someone that they might say that about. Yeah, perhaps I'll think about that more another time. Don't even stop at greatness. Push into the unexpected. Randy says, I don't think he was considering these deeper meanings when he wrote that quote. Yeah, I think he's speaking, his audience here is people who are trying to do their very best and create something that benefits themselves and the world in a non-harmful way, in a helpful, beneficial way. And I guess where my mind always goes is this advice apply to everyone? If everyone lived this way, what would that look like? And perhaps that's not a fair way to judge a piece of advice. But, but that is where I go. Randy says, assuming good intentions, perhaps. Yeah, then you get into the just following orders business at The Hague. I don't know. My mind is all in twists right now. Let's see. Maybe we can find somewhere positive to land before my brain really really twists itself into a knot. Yeah, back and forth, inspiring. I need to find more app developers. This stream is my bat signal saying, here I am. I want to meet other indie app developers. Randy says, yeah, deep thoughts provokes even deeper thoughts. With each new project, we're challenging ourselves to the most beautifully reflect what's living in us at that particular window of time. And I feel like this is what's living in me is, Jesus said it, Muhammad said it, MLK said it, Gandhi said it. All these people have said it, like take care of the poor, love your neighbor. It all means the same thing. Don't hoard wealth, give your wealth away. But as Bob Dylan says, how many times does a man look up before he can see the sky? I feel like there's something missing. The command to take care of the poor or love your neighbor. I guess folks need like an example. They need something to clear the way so that they can do that. When your two options for, I don't know, getting to work is, I don't even know what examples to use. Is Evil Corporation 1 or Evil Corporation 2? If those are your only two choices, that feels bad. It feels like there's no way to live taking care of the poor, loving your neighbor, if you don't have good options for buying food, or just trying to think of examples. So that's what I'm looking for. Something that will enable everyone to give away their wealth, take care of the poor, live happily, live beneficially. Which is the message of basically every religion. Very, very common theme at the very least. Whew. Randy says, art for you is more than just something looking creative and pretty. It has to have a positive impact as well. Yeah, and I think the positive impact doesn't have to be the intention. If you look at Jordan being the greatest of all time, he was living as an example of how to be the greatest of all time. I don't know if he like sat down and taught someone that. I don't know, maybe he did, but that's not what he's known for. He's known for doing it. He did it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess to go further on your comment here, yeah, the Subway app is my expression of what a good app is, what a good Subway app is, and it benefits people because they have a better app to use than the others that are available, in my opinion. Um, and that helps reduce reliance on cars if the subway is easier to take. Uh, more efficient ways of traveling. Um, Electricity is renewable through solar and hydro, um, and other green energies. Um, Whereas cars, even electric ones, the residue from the tires is a big part of the pollution that a car produces. Uh, Randy says, it fulfills a need you saw. Yeah, both for myself and for the world at large, or New York City at large, I guess. With each new project, but I guess that's one difference about an app is that it's a recurring, evolving thing. It's a garden that keep planting new seeds in. Oh, excuse me. It's a garden I keep planting new seeds in. It's not necessarily a fresh project. I have looked for fresh projects on stream, and they have been exciting. It's just I bump into something and I can't quite finish it. And Underway is already live, and people already love it, and it needs more love from me. So that is what I'm doing. Randy says, so instead of each new project for you with this app, it's each new feature maybe? Yeah, but as a whole, because like we were saying earlier, adding too many features, then you can't even get to the features that you want because there's I don't know if there's if your screen is full of buttons, you can't see the map for for example. There is a an inflection point. Randy says, "Oh yeah, it becomes no longer helpful." Yeah. So I guess the garden analogy, perhaps, although I'm not a gardener, a growing garden, keeping it healthy, rotating the crops, rotating the servers. Uh, but yeah, my taste does evolve, and I'm not always able to express my taste in Underway. Just the nature of software, you can't rewrite an app every single day. You can improve a part here, improve a part there. Randy says watering the servers. Yeah. Well, I guess squashing the bugs is maybe something both have. Don't even stop at greatness, venture beyond. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Well, thanks so much for joining for the Creative Act. This book has been so inspiring for me. I'll get back to coding in a moment here. Whew. And yeah, if you're an indie app developer, let's hang out. Okay, well, it looks like we're building. But Xcode is confused. Let's try reopening it. There we go. Yeah, so before the break, before the reading, we had started building a tiny little app to manage the migrations for a new database that I'm thinking I'm going to need for underway. Here's kind of a sketch of what I'm thinking, keeping track of all the feeds so that I can keep track of all the trains currently in the system and where they've stopped. The main intention here is creating my own IDs for trains for a number of reasons, but the biggest motivator is that the IDs that the MTA uses are not stable. Sometimes they disappear, sometimes there's two of the same one, and sometimes a train will just, the same physical train will now have a new ID. So need to do something about that. And this is all in context of the last few weeks we've been rewriting our backend. We have kind of a new we rewrote how we make the main feed, and we could take that even further. But I wanted to kind of pause and keep an eye on the goal here. Like the reason for this rewrite was to making this feature easier. And I can show you in the transform how this is way more readable than it even like fits in one screen full. It even fits in one screen full with all the word wrap of making the whole feed. So huge win for readability. And readability, of course, is the mother of reworkability, of being able to extend. And if we're saving stuff in a database, then of course we can have historic data for different trains, which will also be pretty neat. Randy says, yeah, these are, there we go. These are difficult but good thoughts. Thank you for sharing them. Thank you so much for participating in the discussion. I really appreciate it. It's certainly way more fun than just having my own thoughts about it, which is quite a bit of fun. but it is more fun with others. So again, thanks for participating in the discussion and sharing how. Oh, that's kind of what they said in that chapter, for sharing what you see right now about that passage. As always, if you've missed an episode, I do post them to YouTube and my podcast later. I am running behind a week. I haven't edited down last week's yet. Yeah, so kind of coming back to this task, we're kind of at a crossroads again. Um, what should I do? Maybe something like that. So we're at a crossroads again. Um, so kitchen rewrite was a success. And it's kind of like what next? What next though? We could merge all the backend modules into one. Maybe not numeric. Let's do dots. Merge all the backend modules into one. We could start writing the feature that we want. And the benefits of doing this would be shorter build time. Build Vapor only once, and Vapor takes forever to build. If I'm building it more than one time, then it really adds up. Although it's about a 20-minute build, so it's not so bad. It could be worse because I can build everything else in parallel. It's just the containers that take forever. And by forever, I mean 20 minutes, which is actually not bad. Maybe 30 minutes is where it starts to become bad-ish. But 20 minutes is not bad. 10 minutes would be good. 5 minutes would be great. So the positive there would be shorter build times. The negative there might be can Xcode handle it? Would there be regret in the future? We were just talking about regret during the reading. Would there be regret from this decision? The regrets would be like, can Xcode handle it? Or is it a waste of time? Yeah, and I guess the benefit here would be if we start writing the feature we want, then any reworks along the way are in line with where we want to go. And that's pretty big too, because some of the reworks that I wanted to do, I now realize after having like done this exploration in the first half of the stream, they are kind of not necessary, because this really opens up this whole project opens up some reworks that I wasn't even thinking of. And some of the reworks I had in mind, some of the reworks that I had in mind would just be kind of a waste of time. And I guess the minus would be opening and closing Xcode is annoying. But let's take a look. How many back end modules do we have? We have the Vapor apps. We have the web app. This is the website. Underway data. What's in here? This is SQLite kit. Yeah, so this would split to be like front end and back end. It's kind of the same module, but one only runs on Mac and one basically only runs in the cloud on Linux. I have these Redises. Let's see. Let's take stock. Okay, so what do we have? Android app. That is not the back end. Assets. This is just assets. There's no back end stuff here necessarily, just like colors and artwork. That's fine. Bin. That's fine. CI. That's fine. Data. This is, yeah, just static stuff that's read by other parts. I guess the databases module. And I guess we can write those out. Off Postgres, which can basically die off. Customers, Postgres. I still want to build myself a dashboard. So databases. Foundation, this is just stuff that's used by everyone. Infrastructure is infra, that's fine. Then we have the iOS app stuff, that's fine. Kitchen, I mean, one is just the rewrite of the other. The map editor, no. I guess Redis, yeah, we have the Redis stuff. What is tools? Oh, this is kind of just a little shared module for checking the map, if a MTA has published a new map or not, which, speaking of, let me take a peek. Nope, still been 44 days since they published a map. Underway corelib is shared by everybody. It's like a lot of constants and stuff for talking about the feed and talking about the subway. But then we do have underway data. there's two versions of it, one for iOS/Mac and one for Linux. Or I guess I'll just say server side. And then we have the Vapor apps. Admin, customers, API. And then we have the web app. The website is just static, so that's not interesting. This was a proof of concept. Okay, so am I ever going to want to split these out further? Is this okay to all be in the same thing? All in the same executable. I guess the web app being separate has been kind of nice because it has like resources and CSS, and then it has like post CSS and Tailwind and all kinds of stuff in there. Yeah, this is pretty self-contained. Or is it? Have some views. And I guess another negative for merging them all is have to, like, any kind of upgrade or change is more impactful. Like if I upgrade a Vapor version, like everything could break instead of just one module at a time. I can't try out, say, Hummingbird for one little app. Like these could be perhaps joined together like as a monolith. Right now they're all separate separate Docker files. Hmm. Yeah, I guess underway data is used by the iOS app lib. I guess I could move the well, and some of my scripts for creating for creating data and stuff use it. I guess the question is, can I merge these into one executable? Is a monolith a good thing or a bad thing? Well, I want to scale things. Well, all of them being in the same executable is fine. I can still have separate pods and stuff in Kubernetes I can have 3 pods that run the API, for example, and just one pod that runs the transform, for example. Like it just being in the same executable doesn't doesn't necessitate one or the other. I have noticed about upgrades being more impactful. Like I can't try out Hummingbird for one little thing. How's Hummingbird doing, by the way? Hummingbird Swift. January 2nd. Interface to Vapor Database ORM uses FluentKit. I mean, this would be like so much nicer for the. I think this builds a lot quicker because Vapor does. I think it has boring SSL each time you build it. Let's see. Let's look at the package. Swift Neo. That's going to be pretty big. And then how does he do SSL, I guess? On the flip side, this is just kind of one guy, and Vapor is a whole team. I do want to try it out though. Okay, so if I merge all of this except for the web app. No, the web app has to still hits Redis, so it would need. I mean, having shared Redis code would be nice to make sure all the constants line up as they should. I was hoping someone in chat might have an opinion on this. And I guess one other option for next would be deploy what we have now, what we just finished writing, so that we can safely delete unneeded code. Yeah, keeping the web app separate is nice because of all the resources and stuff. I don't want that mucking up the code bases of these other ones. But I think everything else could kind of be merged into one thing. Well, I guess we can commit this little bit that we have. Yeah, I guess what's powerful about one executable is it'll all be in one spot, but that's also the downside. I think I want to do it. I think I want to do it, and I'm scared that I'll regret it. Is what's happening. So pulling in the Vapor apps. Yeah, that's just local stuff. Oh yeah, for some reason the multi-stage exactly. Randy says no regrets. The multi-stage Docker builds weren't working. So it was just rebuilding everything all the time, which was really annoying. Okay, so if I do bring in all these Vapor apps into here, then I'm still creating possibly separate executables. I guess so. I guess there would still be separate executables for each of these things. They would just all be packaged in the same Docker container. And it kind of would be up to how it's deployed to like set the command. So instead of like command app run serve all that, we'd have like for this one would be like customers app. And for this one, it'd be like app API app or something like that. And I guess some of them wouldn't need. Would they still be separate Docker containers? Because then we have to provide the environment variables for everything to each and every one of them. That might not be true. Maybe we can just pass in environment variables. So we don't have to declare them. Okay, well, anyway, let's come here to the package. Oh, I used to have everything all in one Xcode project, and I split them out. So this would be this would be going back to what I had before. Why did I split them out last time? I think it got just too unwieldy for Xcode was the problem. But now Xcode again is the motivation to bring them all back into one. Well, really, build times for Docker and Xcode doesn't like you having two projects open that depend on the same dependency. So, of course, like all of these things depend on underway core lib. Like everything uses this. So if I have two things open at the same time, Xcode is not happy. And that's annoying. I think we should go onwards so that any reworks along the way are in line with where we want to go. So in that case, I mean, hey Tukes, how's it going? Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Thinking pretty hard about which direction to go here. Possibly too hard, but such is such is life, I guess. And this thing had some complaints. Fine for iOS 12, but module has a minimum deployment target of. Why is it trying to connect to iOS? Tuke says, I installed IdeaVim on IntelliJ, changed my life. Been 10 times more productive. I said goodbye to the mouse. Postgres configuration is deprecated. What? Use SQL Postgres. Okay. Does it work the same? Oh, now we gotta learn how to do TLS configuration again. And then what is this? Options for valid for all connections. Prefer, require. Took says, thinking of buying the Caracorder 1. Did you hear about it? People type up to 500 whippums words per minute with it. I have not. Caracorder. Type at the speed of thought. Whoa. Okay, I have heard of this. I just forgot what it was called. The world's fastest keyboard. That's... I don't know about that. Like, how is this the fastest keyboard? This just looks like a regular keyboard with 2 space bars instead of 1. This looks interesting, though. How do I find out more? $17 billion chord combinations. Very cool. Because I guess you can like do certain things to type a word with a chord. Everything doesn't have to be just a key. Very cool. Oh, now TLS is just like in here. Call can throw though. Ooh, I don't think we can do a throw in a static thing like this. That sucks. Took says, but you can write just HEL in same time and it'll write hello. That S is chording. Cool, yeah. Yeah, chording is holding 2 buttons at the same time. So like Command S is, I guess, a popular chord. And I guess you're supposed to chord on opposite hands for best ergonomics. Because otherwise, like your hand will do like a weird movement to try to like press the keys, and that can put repetitive stress on your wrists. So yeah, with my keyboard, I hold. I guess if I'm doing like Command Shift, I guess those are all kind of straight down. I'm using home row mods, so those are all just kind of straight down. And then maybe the thumb is also straight down to activate the symbols layer or the numbers layer. And then the left hand actually pushes the thing, the operative key in that example, the S in Command S. And then I guess this keyboard is apparently built on all chording, 17 billion chord combinations. It would be nice if there was a little bit more of a demo here that wasn't on YouTube. I don't want to watch a whole video right now. Just want to see more about it. Transform any keyboard. Tuke says, coordinating the character one with 4 angles in each button would reach very high angles. The speed he showed on one TikTok video is coding with it. The productivity is insane. Awesome. Randy says, I gotta run. Have a great rest of your weekend. Thanks so much for stopping by, Randy. Really enjoyed our chat earlier during the reading. Hope you have a wonderful week. So I guess we should fatal error if this doesn't work. Oh, we can set the TLS mode in the URL. Oh, okay, that's cool. I guess we'll have to fatal error here. Couldn't start kitchen Postgres config. Check the env. Something like that, I guess. Okay. Okay, so if that's the provider, then what is our main going to look like? Let's take a look at where is it? Was it in Safari? Oh yeah, here it is. Okay. I guess so. And how are we going to configure this? We're going to say configure migrations. And what does that look like? I'm going to add some migrations. Oh, by self, I guess I mean app. Has no member auto migrate. Is that true? Seems suspicious. What do I have to import here? Import. Now is it there? No. Maybe I have to import all of Fluent. Ah, it's 4:59. Ah, it's 5 o'clock. And it is time to go. Well, thank you so much for doing this exploration session with me. We talked about the next direction for the next big feature. We talked about a database that we're going to build to manage the train IDs for ourselves and how we're going to do it. We kind of talked about, should we do more cleanup or kind of jump into the next feature? We are going to jump into the next feature because that's going to guide the reworks that we do take on. And we thought a little bit about merging all of these modules. And I think we're not going to do that because that is what we had a long time ago. And I decided to split them out. So I'm going to trust myself from a while ago until something new comes up. As always, I'll see you in the Discord. And we'll see you tomorrow morning for the scenery stream, which is every workday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., showing some beautiful NYC scenery. Got some new video yesterday. I'm excited to show you all. Yeah, folkdeveloper.com. Thank you so much for sticking around. Really appreciate your time here. And I'll see you either next week or on YouTube or tomorrow during the Work With Me stream.